Hello everybody, my name is Blue and today we are doing the second part of the Island Diorama competition reviews. This part we will be reviewing the 4 next submissions, and actually the winner still hasn't been decided yet as of now, so possibly the actual winner will be announced in a next video, but don't worry, it won't take too long. A winner will be picked out and will receive a free DLC. But for now, let's just look at the 4 contestants that we have, and the 4 next submissions are just as stunning as the previous ones. So let's just get right into it. The organization Sea Shepherd was on the hunt for an illegal fishing ship, which led them on a chase through the rough, isolated islands of the Pacific Ocean. While they were giving chase, they spied a shipwreck on a unnamed, uninhabited island known to be the private property of the son of a millionaire. They called it in, and a helicopter rescue mission was launched the same day to investigate. As the rugged island came into view, the rescue team could clearly make out a help sign spelled out with driftwood and bamboo poles. Large animal transportation crates littered the ground near the shipwreck. Strange, because the ship looked like a luxurious private yacht. Near the crash site, they found an abandoned tent, a little campfire, half-burned wood still warm to the touch. Next to the tent, there was a clipboard with a note, scribbled with charcoal on the back of an inventory list. The note said, "Day 1, we crashed. The Antelope survived, but Manuel broke his arm and is bleeding. I don't know what to do. Our food supplies got lost in the crash. The only thing I am able to catch are crabs and snails. I built a help sign, but as of now, I haven't seen any planes or even other ships. Day 4. Manuel isn't getting any better. I think his arm is infected. Man, I hate those snails. The antelopes are way too fast to catch. They are watching us, taunting us. I hate those damn creatures. Why did I do this job? Still no sign of Pablo's people. Are they even looking for us? Day 6. Manuel isn't responsive anymore. I can't even get him to drink the rainwater. I don't think he's going to make it. Pablo, if you ever going to read this, I hate you more than those disgusting snails. At least I managed to save one of the 10 golden ducks. I put it high up on a large stone. The sea looked so beautiful. The inventory list the author wrote his last thoughts on was dated at 1993, the same year the private zoo of Pablo Escobar was raided. It seems like some of Escobar's poachers managed to take the Oryx antelopes with them. Mentioned Manuel and his brother were never found on or around the island, but the antelopes that were mentioned in the letters were found shortly after the letters were discovered. Though extinct in the wild elsewhere, this small Oryx population found on the island seemed to be in good condition, as there are no predators and they managed to live off of the vegetation and rainwater-fed pools. Their once lost genes will help revitalize the future of this species. Well, here we are on the Golden Duck Beach. This is a submission by PdotFox, and this story is quite interesting. It's also a bit of a dark story. I haven't read the whole story out for you, but if you want to read the full story, there's actually some more pages of the diary that I haven't mentioned. You can go to the Discord, the Planet Zoo Discord, and you can read the full story there. But it's a story about, I think, people who worked for Pablo Escobar, which is quite an infamous person. Let's keep it to that. And yeah, it's about, I think, smugglers or like poachers who smuggled oryxes to this. They crashed to this island, but they were smuggling oryxes, and basically these oryxes managed to thrive on this island. And there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of stories, well, not stories, but just a lot of things going on this island that really it's related to the story, I suppose. And firstly, one thing that was mentioned in the story was that there was a big help sign written out on the island, which is shown over here, which is super cool, and I love the detail of it. It's not just the wooden pieces just ordered nicely into a help sign. They actually used different wooden pieces and like in different shapes. They're very well done. And then the amount of details, just a bunch of wreckage and just rubbish that is all washed up at the shores of the coast and at the beach, I suppose. And yeah, see, there's just random things. There's bikes and crates and wheels, fences. There's even a golden duck here, which I'll mention later as well. and umbrellas and benches and pots. You know, just everything you could think of. It's just all washed up. All the things that the people would have had on the boats have all been washed up. And then here is an actual Oryx. Very beautiful little thing. And here is also another, like a van that got washed up, and a load more rubbish over here. And then here's actual ship wreckage. So yeah, the ship doesn't look like it will be functioning anytime soon, but even details into this, there's smoke coming out of the ship, there's even cobwebs, there's the boxes with the live animal. That's so smart, I love this, the live animal box. And then there's even driftwood and stuff like, oh, and even used the I think it's the ibex climbing rock as a coastal rock. That's so smart. But yeah, load of detail into the wreckage, some cars, some vehicles, and a lot of driftwood. But yeah, the list continues. But even if you go under the water, there's such detail, rocks and water life. This really reminds me of Subnautica, I think. And then even the custom corals. I've seen this done before, but it's really well done with the custom coral. And then what I thought was the most genius is the fact that it looks like there's like waves coming into the sea, because obviously it's in the middle of the sea, so there would be waves coming in, so it's not just flat water, which is very smart detail. I love that. And then there are some workshop items that have to be credited, so I'll show them all over here. So these are all the workshop items that this user used, PdotFox, to create this build, which is fine. So there's a couple of workshop items. For example, this helicopter, but it really fits into the story. And I love the detail of the water actually going away from the helicopter's colors. Very smart detail. And even clouds using the smokers, that's so cool. And then if we head over here, there's another little secret. There's actually a full-on shipwreck, but it's also a workshop item. So this is definitely not the centerpiece of the build. This is just a workshop item plopped down just to fill it up a bit. But this over here is such a detailed island with so many plants, and there's 10 golden ducks that have been spread out on this island. I haven't really been looking for them. I've seen some of them, like, coincidentally. I think there's one inside of this, yeah, one inside of this box, and I also saw one on this rock over here. That was also mentioned in the story. One of the golden ducks was placed on top of a rock. But there are 10 ducks in total, so if you want to look for the ducks, you can definitely do that. You can go to the Planets with Discord and you can download the file, the workshop item, well, the world, I suppose, and you can look for the ducks yourself. So if you want to do that, definitely go to PdotFox's workshop and you can go ahead and download it. But let's hop over to the next build. This was so long ago that I can barely remember what happened. I was on a cruise headed to, I can't remember where. It was nighttime and I heard sirens, though I can't remember much after that. All I remember is washing up with some wood and a few materials alone. Panic set in for the first while, of course. It was terrifying. No way to call for help, no way home. How would I get food? Are there dangerous plants or animals on this island? So many questions flooded my mind. But instead of losing my mind, I decided to get to work. I had learned to knit and crochet prior to going on that cruise, and it came in handy. With old vines, I created a shelter using some of the canvas I washed up with to create walls. I found some edible plants and made a garden. I would see how the penguins would fish. It was amazing, so I too began fishing and eventually got so good at it I could catch multiple a day. Let's just say fish soup was a delicacy here in my nature's Solitaire. I wasn't sure how long I'd been there. It had perhaps been years, but I didn't feel older. When finally a boat had come around, in fact it docked right at the island, they offered me a ride, and for a moment I stood there, looking back on my island. No, I don't think I will. Welcome to the Nature's Solitaire by the talented Corn. Now this is a simple yet strong story about a survivor who crashed on an island and managed to create a little hut for himself or herself, and managed to survive and basically came in love with the environment and with the penguins and didn't want to leave anymore. And the penguins, being African penguins, are very suited for this African environment. That's the best way to describe it, I suppose. And I love seeing penguins. I think for some reason penguins are like what I think of as like ideal island animals. I'm surprised no one went for the king penguins really with the tundra map. But I love seeing the African penguins. But let's take a step back and ignore the penguins for a second. Look at this island. So these humongous roots, if that's even a word, and these custom trees. I think it's the first custom trees here, and then if you go to the back, although less things are going on the back, actually these huge baobab trees made out of like 10 different baobab trees together. And then yeah, a lot of terraining has been going on. Very cool. But I think it's mostly this view that's super stunning, with the roots going all over the place and crates flying. That's the thing as well. But then if we head into the island between the roots, there is this beautiful like tent. Is it a tent? Like a hut made out of ropes and cloth and stuff like that, even a bit of wood. Very cool. And then there's just the tiny details that you find everywhere. I've been looking at this for ages, and there's just more things that you discover. For example, a little furnace, or like a stove. Or not a stove. It's just a pot on a fire. That's what it is. With another pot next to it, and it's cooking some food. So there's an aubergine and not an aubergine. Is it an aubergine or is it a cucumber? Or a courgette? Yeah, I think actually that's a courgette. I know my vegetables, don't worry. But yeah, a courgette and some potatoes in there, and then outside is a tiny garden that was described in the story as well, with the pumpkins. I think these are carrots, tomatoes. This is I like this because this is a bee hive, like an insect hotel, I believe. But it looks like wood storage. It looks like storage for wood, because obviously you would need wood if you want to start a fire. So this is just some wood that this person has stored away, and then this is the campfire right here. So that's genius, I think. And if we head over here, oh, there's even a hammock with a cushion and everything. There's some towels that I've been drying, perhaps, and some lighting. It looks like it's quite cool because these conservation lights really look like these DIY handmade lighting stands or like things. And then if we head our way up here, there's even a little like jacuzzi with a waterfall and like a furnace, some candles. Very cozy. This looks like a holiday destination, if anything. This is so cool. Even some candles over here. Oh wow! What is this piece? I don't recognize this piece. What is that? Why do I not know this piece? It's the African hut. Oh, is that an Okay. Well. Anyway, this is a holiday destination. I get why the person doesn't want to leave the island. I would love to stay here as well. But yeah, the story 100% fits the actual build, and also something I've noticed, if you go have a look at night, look at that, there's a strip of light that goes across the baobab tree in the back, and even under the water and in the trees there's some like glowing lights, really set the nighttime. I don't think of many other people, although I must say the Ezekiel's Rock really had a nice nighttime view as well. But yeah, I love when people think about nighttime, so that's definitely a good thing. And then the penguins look very stunning at night as well, and you can't disagree with penguins. Everyone loves penguins, right? So yeah, definitely a nice build, but we'll have to head over to the next build or I'll be stuck on this build. So let's have a look at the next one, shall we? Breaking news: historical marvel, conservation miracle. Last Monday, Ikram Bolos, a hobbyist sailor, could have never been prepared for what he would find during a short voyage along the Mediterranean. Bolos had just purchased a new sailboat and decided he would take the boat on its maiden voyage. It was a smooth sailing until a storm began to rapidly move in, so Ikram needed to make land. While approaching an island, he noticed a smaller island only a few nautical miles further than his initial destination. The smaller island had more trees, so he set course for it instead. Once he got closer, he saw the remains of some architecture, but he wasn't prepared for the full discovery he was about to make. Once he got on land, he found more evidence of civilization, but even more incredibly, he found some animals. He didn't recognize the antelope-like animal, but it struck him as amazing that they were surviving out on an island. Once the storm passed, he quickly sailed back to his home in Marsa Alam, Egypt, and reported his find. Zoologists and historians alike were intrigued, so they joined Ikram both on his boat and on their own small boats. One of the zoologists cried out upon seeing the animals. Bulos had discovered an isolated population of skimmer horned oryxes, long presumed to be completely extinct in the wild. Historians were able to confirm that an Egyptian trading ship had wrecked back in the 1st century BC and had brought the animals to the island. Ikram has renamed his boat the Scimitar in honor of the discovery. Welcome to the Oryx Island by Tiera. I love this story because it's a sweet, very different compared to the other ones, because it's more of like a news report instead of an actual like story, and making use of I think it's the grassland or the desert, either of the two. It's super down to earth, but I love how it's very believable. I feel like if I read this could have been a real thing, right? Since it's just an island in the Mediterranean, and they've discovered some wild oryxes, and they involve zoologists and historians to unravel how they got there, and basically came to the conclusion that some time in the past Egyptians have crashed on this island and basically transporting these oryxes, but there's some ancient ruins on this island that they've found, or the sailor has found, and some hints of civilization here and there, which is quite well described in the story. There's a drum in the ground and some pieces of wood. It's very subtle, and I love it how subtle it is. And then here is the boat, I think. Maybe that's an ancient boat as well that got crashed into the side of the sand there and got basically covered up by sand. And yeah, if you just look around, just find these tiny little I suppose. Oh look, there's another tiny piece of bridge. You would not notice this, but it's so well done. It's just a tiny little bucket, and yeah, just things sprawled all over the place of signs of life. And then the scimitar horned oryxes that just live and thrive on this island. It's a very, very nice story, since it really brings the essence of this task, of this competition. Lovely and very naturalistic. But yeah, let's head over to the next build. There are many islands in and around Greece. At first glance, the island that the small fishing group had chosen to rest and make camp was no different than any other island in the area. It wasn't until they had settled in and begun exploring that they discovered that this forgotten little spot in the Aegean Sea was perhaps not quite as ordinary as they had first believed. Hidden amongst the greenery was a population of badgers, their red coats setting them apart from their mainland cousins, the Cretan badger and European badger. This small paradise that the badgers had made their home had more surprises in store yet. As several of the fishermen ventured further, cutting through old underbrush and climbing the rocky hill, they found themselves at the highest point of the island. Standing before them were the ruins of an ancient Greek temple, likely untouched for centuries. Meanwhile, a pair of fishermen had chosen to follow the badgers, discovering a large cave hidden under the rocky hill where the red creatures had made themselves a home over countless generations. Welcome to the Isle of Ceto by Archer, and this is such a stunning image. Now, the story is great, and I love how this involves some like old Greek ancient storytelling there as well. And you know, I'm a sucker for European stuff, especially like ancient Greece and stuff. It really is something that attracts me. And if I look at this, even without the story, it screams Mediterranean. It screams like Greek. or like Italian or something, but it looks super Mediterranean. It's well done. It's like the user created a completely new environment, a complete new biome. I think this is the temperate biome, but I know it is temperate, but it just looks Mediterranean. It's genius. This rock has such sheer detail of even like the growth, like the overgrowth in between the rocks and stuff. And look at this back face. There's so much detail in there. The amount of work that has been put in this build is breathtaking. And then if we actually zoom in, this is another genius thing I thought, is if you have a look at the residents of this island, are these badgers, but as the story explains, this is a new species of badger with a red coat, as you can see. And the fact that this user found a whole, maybe used mods, I don't know, but the fact that they found a whole a group of the same color morph to create this island. I don't even know what the color morph is. I think it's well, let's have a look. It is the erythristic. That's apparently what it is. I didn't even know the badgers had this color morph, but the erythristic color morph creates this really cool red brownish coat, which really fits the description of it being its own species that's obviously separate from the Cretan and the European badgers, which is genius. I love that. I love how it's a new discovered species, like a completely new discovered species instead of just an endangered species. And what I thought was genius as well, and we have seen this before with one of the previous builds, but this one does it very subtly and I think very well as well, is the water hitting the coastline. That's just so well done. I think it goes all the way around the coastline on this side, and and even around the boat. I think that's quite genius. I love that. And then the whole island just has this subtle mist, mist coming from the water, which shows that it's a bit of a lukewarm environment. And even if we go under the water, there is around the coast there is loads of plants, so definitely some details that went into that as well. But then now let's go to the main part of this island, which is, you know, the island. There are some people who have settled here, not settled, but obviously that have discovered this island. So there's 2 boats and there's a couple of tents, you know. And then they, as the story described, they travelled onto the island, and there's a tiny little puddle here, and a beautiful waterfall that sprawls out, and even it's like a cascading waterfall, and it even splits off. It looks super Mediterranean. And if we make our way up here, then we get to this, whatever remains of this temple, this Greek temple, and this is detail. Okay, this looks like it's been here for a really long time, and it's even crumbled down the hill. That's so smart. Although I don't think there's anything that's fallen down this cliff, which is a missed opportunity, although maybe it's a bit too far, sure. But still, that's really well done. And then there's like moss and just overgrowth everywhere. The moss decal pieces, I think. Amazing, but that's not everything, because then if we head down, this also uses like a 2-layer kind of storytelling by going into a cave. There's this super mystical cave where the badgers like to hang out with the twilight pieces used for the like mushrooms, and you know, some of the enrichment items that the badgers like as well, and some bedding. But look at that, this is so mystical. I love that. And it definitely wasn't necessary, but it just adds to it. It just makes it even more interesting, this build. And yeah, the coastline, super detailed. So many, like, you can look at these rocks for ages and you just find more details into it constantly. The amount of detail, I've said the word detail so much just because of how detailed it actually is. So, very, very well done. My mind has been blown, and you know, I love European stuff, as I said before, as a European myself. So yeah, this is the final build, and I hope you enjoy this competition and you enjoyed seeing all of the builds. And we will be deciding a winner very, very, very soon. This might be today or one of the next days, but very, very soon. So just more patience. But we'll get there soon. And yeah, I'll see you when we reveal the winner. Bye-bye.